working at Google. Yeah, this is cool. The only thing I haven't shown you yet is how to interact directly with a map. Let's update the code to look at that. Which part will be that page? So, the code we've added this is 3 lines here. It consists of adding a so-called listener. When you click on the map, there are created events which are sent to these functions. These are once again one of these callbacks which I mentioned earlier. When you now click on the map, we have told it to mark the map with the latitude and longitude of the place you clicked, and that's it. And now, with this code, which is everything you needed with interacting with the map, we can now clicking on them as we want. So now we can create places. This has still one downside. You can't save anything. If I now reload the map, everything is gone again.
Can I try that?
Yeah, try that.
Oh, indeed. I lose all the information.
Yeah, which means you need to store it somewhere. So I'll hand you back to Xavier, which will show you how to save this.
Okay, so I think now it's my turn. Thank you, Stein. So I'm going to change a little bit. Let me close this project first. And let me go to another project that I want to show you. So what we have seen right now is just about how to use HTML, CSS for the styling, and JavaScript for the logic for the code. And the important thing to remember is that you have powerful functionalities such as the map without any download, without any installation. Everything is local on your computer. You just edit the file, you test it with your browser, and then you make it online. So some of you might already be familiar with this. You might be already doing some websites. I really insist here on the fact that we're only using a text editor. I'm not running any big application to create websites. I'm really going down to the details. And this is how we work at Google in particular, where we like to be using very simple tools. They're not necessarily Google tools. We use the best tools whenever we can. So that might be Linux, Windows, Macintosh. And what I want to show you now is it's a little bit more complex. So I have a few steps to prepare first. So be with me for 1 second. And I'll be up on stage in a couple of seconds. Give me a minute. Because I'm doing it live. Okay. Here we are. So now for the art of the project. So let me bring back my text editor. And I want to show you a couple of things first. I'm sorry, I need to get prepared. Because we're switching. Alright, so here's what we see on the screen. So just to make sure that we understand what's going on, I'm going to go through to 3 tools. I have my text browser here. I will have my web browser here, going onto my local machine. For the moment there is nothing running. I will start this in minutes. And I will be using a third thing, which was hidden on the side, and it is a terminal. Right? I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger so that you can see what's actually going on. Okay, is it big enough? Okay, so this is a typical configuration for a software engineer. A terminal where I can type commands, such as this one. A web browser when I see the results. And a text editor. And you can use VI, you can use Emacs, you can use Microsoft, not WordPad, Notepad++, whatever you want. So let's start. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use Google App Engine. So that's a bit different from what we've seen up to now, because in order to use the Google App Engine, you need to download something and install it on your machine. The way you do that is you just search for Google App Engine, and once you're on the web page, you follow the instructions for downloading the stuff. It should refresh. It looks like Google is a bit slow today. Here it is. So this is the first link. You go there, and you have a bunch of instructions on how to download things, right? So I have done that before. It takes about 5 minutes, and once you have it, it's very simple. So now let's start with what a Google App Engine application is. The first thing you have to create is a file called app.yaml. YAML is a very simple language for configuring things. I'm not going to go into details there. It's very similar to the Windows INI files if you are used to Windows. What you're saying there is that you want to do an application. Let's give it a name. So Middle East, North Africa, meet my friends. I must tell what the version of my application is. Let me make that bigger for you. And then I want to say which programming language we want to use. And this is important. At Google, we don't want to force you to use the language, a particular language. You can choose the language we want. So here, I'm going to use Python because it's the one I use most often. But you could use Java if you want. So I'm going to stick to Python for the moment. And I must say one last thing, which is that I'm going to use the version 1 of Google App Engine, which is the only one available at the moment. Then, what I have to say, what my application will do. So what it will do, every time you go to a given URL, like let's say this one on my website, you should run this given script. Which is in Python, because I chose Python for the language, right? Here it is, I have my application ready. Oh no, I need to make the script. Let's make it. So I'm creating it. And you really see a live coding. And something important is that actually Stein is looking over my shoulder and is checking my code at the same time. This is called pair programming, and this is something we do quite often. So in that file, I will just make some simple print comment statements. And here I have my first Google App Engine. I have to start it. The way it is done is by just calling the program I just uploaded from the web on my current repository. It's starting the server, and it's going to tell me the server is live on my localhost here. Okay? Let me make that a little bit clearer. Which means that now I can browse, I can move to my browser, and if I reload, it's going to show me the page I want to serve. Yes, it works. I want to make this big. Okay. So here I am. I have a simple application. Once again, a configuration file, some code to tell it what to do, and then a terminal where to run the application and to check what's happening. And by the way, I can see that indeed it's trying to get this page, and that it's got a 200 code, which means that it's okay, and it can serve the application. So now, from there, I'm going to walk you through the steps it takes to have a fully running application with persistent storage, user authentication, security, and an application that is ready to serve millions of users. because this is the benefit you have with Google App Engine. I'm going to be honest, you have other choices that you can take. Personally, I use Ruby on Rails a lot because I like it. I also use Django because sometimes it's more efficient. The benefit of using Google App Engine is that you can make your application online directly, and you benefit from Google infrastructure, which means that this is secure and that you can serve millions of users. The server won't go down. Okay, so let's continue with the code. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a bit more powerful than just a single print. Because if I have to generate all my web pages with a print, it's going to be tedious and very hard. So I'm going to use a framework, a CGI framework, which is a Common Gateway Interface framework, and it's something standard on the web. So if you're a web developer, you know about it. If you don't know about it, you'll have plenty of documentation available on the web for that. So the way it works is like this. I'm going to change my application. So I'll first put some boilerplate code, which is needed by Python. So it says, I'm going to make it big. All right. So this is common Python to start the script. This is the main function. The main function looks like this. It just calls some helper function. This helper is part of the Google engine. So if you don't know Python, don't be afraid. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward to read as soon as you are a developer, right? Let me just stop the code. I told you it's a live session, right?
I think you have misspelled the run BSGI application.
Function. Run WSGI application. Oh yes. It should be like this. Thank you, Shine. Okay. Honestly, I don't know this by heart. Usually when I code, I have another web browser open where I can find all the information. Okay, so here is my thing. And now I need to declare what is my application. So my application is just simply a magical object. So it looks a bit scary, but this code I actually copy-pasted most of the time from an example that I have on my computer. And what I want you to remember from today is that you can download the result of this tutorial and you can use it as a start, right? So what I've done here, let me zoom out a little bit. I have created my main program. It's running an application using the framework that you have in Google App Engine. And the application is some magical object using handlers. And the last step I need is to tell what are the handlers. And to tell that, I'm just going to tell the handler that for any web address, it's going to call some magical class. Wow, I'm almost there. And now I need my magical class. And my magical class is just something that tells how to answer to a GET request. Because you might know that when you speak the web languages, when you make HTTP requests, you can do GET requests or POST requests. So here I'm going to answer to the things. And I will do so by just saying that I want